Hi, Shuhel. Good
Hi,
evening.
Manisha.
Could you please share your PPT and explain?
Yeah, sure. Is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the topic is user variable. Basically, user variable means where admin can create the variable and assign it to the users. It will help for basically restrict the members to the user. Like admin can give the access to the users only to the limited members. So in this topic, I will show you the usage of user variable in the following artifacts, like how to create the variable and how to use in data forms, runtime prompts, and business rules smartly. Yeah, coming to the creation of user variable, what is the use of user variable? Basically, like I said, like it will use to limit the users to use the limited limit numbers, limit the members. What is the difference between user variable and substitutional variable? So the user variable where admin can create and assign to the users according to the business requirement, whereas the substitution variable, admin can create and leave it. The form of the data will get changed according to the substitutional variable. So next is which use case do we use user variable over substitutional variable? So if admin wants to limit the members to user, then he can prefer user variable over substitutional variable. Can you show me how to use a how to use a create user variable from the following use cases? Since we don't have the list of users in the application, try to explain how users variable behaves by using the admin user only by using the use case assumption. And use case one, assume user one is the owner of two entities, assign those two entities as value to the entity dimension. So coming to the navigation part, we'll go to the variable cart, and in the user variable tab, we'll click the add button, and here we'll select the entity, and here variable name, user entity, and here you can choose the entity names. So here I'm choosing CEN02 and CEN03. So after creating, we'll save. After saving, we'll go to the user preference and we'll prefer the entity. Yeah, here I'm preferring CEN02 as preferred entity. Click on OK. Like that, we can create and we can use the user preference. So coming to the next slide, usage of user variable in data forms. Can you reuse any of the data forms and show me how to use the user variable as per use case one from slide 3? Okay. Here I will show you the navigation part in the forms. Go to the forms card and select the form. Here user variable form, I'm editing it. And in the layout tab, we can assign the user entity. Here in the variables tab, we'll go to the variable which we have created and we'll assign. And we'll save. And in the preview, user preference. Yeah. System is slow. 1 minute. Yeah, as you can see, this is the where entity CEEN01 is the user entity. So user variable. Second point, can you explain how user one can access the data form which is created based on the above question in detail of how the entities are restricted, the two entities of ownership. Yeah, in this case, we have selected only two entities where other than two entities, user cannot use and enter the data in form. Should user one supposed to access any of the entities other than two entities he owns in the data form? So for this, the answer is no. Only user can access only two entities. Other than that, he or she cannot have the access. User requirement. Can you show me how to enable a dynamic user variable? Yeah, in the navigation form, navigation part, other options, and here we can enable dynamic user variable. So take any parent entity as an example. Show how only the children of that parent entity are filtered in the data form. So for this, we'll go to the layout and we'll edit the entity. And here we'll go to the tab. We'll first assign the entities. Yeah, here I'm selecting the parent. And here I'm enabling the context and save. So I'm going to the forms and opening the same form. And here in the variables tab, here we can enable and save. And in the preview, we can see the entity parent. So yeah, last point, when the data form is saved, the business rule should run only in the context of entity selection made. So for this, here we'll go to the business rules and we'll enable the business rules which we want to add. And we'll select the user members on forms and save. So next slide, can we use a user variable in RTP? Yes, we can use the user variable in RTP. If yes, can you limit the user variable in the RTP to be able to restrict user one from accessing the entity other than he wants? Yes. In the navigation part, we'll go to the navigation and click on the rules part. And under actions, we'll select the variable designer and we'll expand EPM cloud and select global. Here in entity, we'll name the RTP name as RTP underscore entity. And under that, we'll select the entity. And here we'll select the user name, user variable name as limit. and default value as also user variable. And we'll enable the RTP and we'll enter the text call, please enter the entity. After that, we'll save. Okay. And yeah. Like that, we'll create the RTP. Third point, use this RTP in the business rule. Business rule and show me how it works. To create a business rule, we'll go to the system view, under actions, we'll select new object, we'll select the EPM cloud and application name, view console and object type business rule and name of the business rule. Here I'm taking custom rule 5. So custom rule 5 created and open for editing. Yeah, here we can like that we will create the business rule. So using the RTP in the business rule, right? Here we'll basically do the scripting part here. Fix, bracket open, parenthesis, and we'll give here the RTP name, RTP underscore entity. Let me check the RTP name once, RTP underscore entity. Yeah. After that, we'll give the end fix. After this, we'll save and validate. As you can see, the rule validated with no errors. So after, we'll go to the next slide. Usage of user variable in business rule. Can you show me how to use the user variable in business rule? Yeah, and here we'll use the user variable in this business rule. Fix, bracket open, and we'll give the user variable name. Here entity, yeah. Entity. Entity and infix. And here we will validate. Yeah, it's also like this. We'll give the user variable in the business. And after that, can you explain what advantage does the usage of user variable has over substitutional variable in business rule? Yeah, for that, where admin can limit the members and assign it to the users. And whereas substitutional variables, where admin can create it and leave it, the form or data will automatically will get changed according to the substitutional variable, which has been created by the admin. And third point, can you explain which of the following approach is recommended or not recommended for using entity in business rule? And please explain why if you can. So first one, hard coding entity, using user variable of entity, using substitutional variable of entity, and using RTP. For here, in this instance, we'll ignore hard coding entity and we'll take remaining 3. Yeah, here I will show you the navigation part. This is the RTP coding, and here is the user variable coding. And here I will give the substitution variable also. Let me check the substitution variable name. Yeah, current month. Percent current month. Close the bracket and we'll validate. Yeah. And next, we will create the hard coding member. For this, we'll use fix, bracket open, entity name, and fix. Yeah. As here, as you can see, hard coding entity. This is the hard coding entity, and using user variable of entity and substitution variable of entity. This is the user variable of entity, and this is the substitution variable of entity, and this is the RTP. RTP. Like that, we'll create and we'll after saving, after validating and saving, we'll deploy it. Yeah, the deployment was successful. So to see the business rule, we'll go to the rule card. We'll refresh here. And here, as you can see, custom rule 5, which we have created. And here, this is the rule which we have created the RTP. Under that, this is the user variable. And coming to the next slide, using user variable in Smart View. Can you explain how to insert user variable in Smart View? Use the use case one from slide 4. Okay. Yeah, I'm opening the Smart View and entering the credentials. So we'll expand the console and application. We'll select the form. Under this case, we'll select the form which we have created. And after that, we'll give the user variable name. We'll enter and refresh. As you can see here, the user variable entity has been arrived. So in this topic, we have concluded that the usage of user variable in the following artifacts, as we have seen the creation of user variable and how to use it in data forms, runtime prompts, business rules, and smart view. And lastly, thank you. That's it from my side. Yeah, Manjusha.
Yeah, so thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Sudesh. Can you
Yeah,
know?
yeah, thank you, Manjusha.